Hello, Floss Tube. I hope everybody's keeping well. My name is Carla and I am known as the Stitchy Witch and I live in Scotland. So today I thought I would come on because it's the 1st of July and there are new happenings, new beginnings at the beginning of the month. So I've picked out a chart that is in my stash. I've put everything else away because I know I was saying in my last video that I like to stitch what I want whenever I want, and that is for the most part very true. But then that does mean that some things do just get buried, which is just the unfortunate result if you tend to be a stitch what you want stitcher. But you know, everything will come around in due course, and this one I started in January is called Purrfect Wisdom, and I've got the details here. It's a story keep by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Lisa Parker. It is the second Lisa Parker chart that I'm doing. The first one I did was actually my first Heaven and Earth design, and I'll pop a picture in. It's actually up on my wall up there. I wonder if it's visible. Yeah, there it is, up on the wall. And that one was finished, I think it was 2021, possibly, not too sure. Anyhow, so this one's also Lisa Parker. It's 150 by 409 and it's got 90 colours, and I started it on, which I've written up there, 15th of January. So it looks like I've been working on it for approximately 6 months. And so the reason for coming on today is just to talk a little bit about what sort of plan. I don't do plans, but I've made a plan. So there we go. And the reason is because I purchased this chart as a story keep because I thought it wouldn't take too long to do and it would be I'm going to whisper a little bit because somebody is in the next room. It was a nice gift for my husband to give for Christmas, and I would have it framed and everything. But I didn't realize that it isn't actually that small. The story keeps are not as small as I would like them to be. This one is still got a total of 61,000 stitches. Say what you will, that's still a lot of stitching. So yeah, it's not something you can get done in a month, say, unless you have sleepless nights and just stitch 24/7. But I can make a good dent in, and I can probably, chop off at least 10,000 in a month. So I thought for July, why not just focus on this one, focus on your usual focus piece, which I'll show again in a moment. But focusing on this one means that I'll get about 10k in, and we'll see what happens in August. I might continue doing the same thing. We'll just review it again. So what I think I might do is, because I think it really would be nice to give this as a gift, and it would actually give me a finish as well, which I think would bolster my spirits a little bit, because I feel like I do a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here, and I just end up like many stitches that I listen to, just getting little, random bits of not really any progress, but just a few extra stitches here, there and everywhere. And it just feels a bit like, I'm not really getting anywhere. So I think bringing this smallest one that I have and trying to actually get something concrete done. So I feel like with 10,000 stitches, I'm going to get the whole top section of this finished probably. Now there's also a little story behind this one. I started it in 2/1 tent stitch because I was tent stitching at the time. This is 25 count. And I suddenly realized that I preferred 1/1 because I was getting tired of having too many dangly threads when I'm parking. So I decided to go to the 1/1 cross stitch, which the majority of this owl and the moon is 1/1 full cross. And I was quite happy with that. However, I'd already done a whole section above here of 2/1 tent. So then I decided, well, I'm not going to start doing 1/1 in the middle of the background because that might actually look a bit odd. And also it's going to save me time just to continue in tent stitch. So that's what I've been doing. I've been continuing all down here on these 4 rows all the way down in 10 stitch. And I've marked out more or less where the owl ends. So this is all 1/1 full cross and all this line up here. And beyond that blue, lighter blue, is all tent. You can't really see the difference. No, you just can't see the difference. But I think for ease of stitching, I might as well just finish the background in tent and go on with the owl in 1/1. The background finishes somewhere down here. It's not going to be too much. It's not going to be all the way down. So I just have to make sure that I can differentiate between the background and the owl. More or less, it doesn't even matter if it's not 100%. So I can continue with the owl on this side in the 1/1 full cross. So basically this pattern will have been done on 2 different techniques, the 2/1 tent and the 1/1 full cross. And I find that rather charming, really, because I've never done that before either. So that'd be interesting. So let's have a look and see what it is, like looking at the stats and everything, what I can do. Okay, so this is my starting point. I have punched in a few stitches today already. I've actually done about 280, and I've done that all up here. So everything else beyond these little dotty bits is all DMC 939, so that's going to be really easy to zip down. So the total in the chart is 61,000 approximately. My starting point is at 51,199. Well, that was this morning anyway. Probably less now because I have just done a few. So in total, I've done about 9,000 stitches on this chart. And I've worked out that if I do about 250 stitches a day for the rest of July, I will have completed just under 8,000 stitches, which is great. But can I make it to 10,000? That's the question. So if I wanted to make it to 10,000, say, that would be achieving about 323 stitches a day in July. Now that's a little bit more because some days are good, some days are not so good, especially when I get bad back pain and I can't sit for too long. That for me will actually be the challenge, actually being able to sit down and do my 300 stitches, which I might have to portion out throughout the day if I get neck aches. But hopefully if I can do more stitches other days, maybe on the days when I am feeling a little bit achy or busy doing other things, maybe those are the days when I can do less stitches. So for me, I think it's doable. I might even surprise myself and do more. I don't know. But that's the beauty, I think, of having a tentative goal, but not setting it in stone. I just want to see where I'm going to get to. So that will be interesting. So I'm aiming for 323 stitches a day. It's not going to be exact, I know, because there are going to be some days where I go over and some days where I maybe just go a little bit under. But I think all in all, I'm hoping that I can get round about the 10K number at the end of the month. So if you want to follow me on this journey, I will come back in a week and post my progress on this one. So that'll be 4 videos of the Purrfect Wisdom chart update. I mean, I suppose it is a challenge. I don't think it's hugely challenging, but I don't really know what. I think I'd just call it more of a focus rather than a challenge, because for some reason, when I think of things as being challenging, I find it, I don't know, a bit anxious, anxiety ridden. I feel like, oh my God, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? If I just call it a focus for the rest of the month and just try to do a certain amount. And if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. Then it feels less like I'm going to get, told off at the end or something. Or feel like a complete failure, which I don't want to feel like. So, yeah. So instead of challenge, we'll just call it the new July focus piece. Yeah, I think that suits me better. I feel like I was calling it a challenge this morning, but then I felt like, to me, that felt too, not pushy, too rigid. So more like you have to do it kind of thing, or else. No, I don't really run like that. So yeah, so this is where we are. Oh yeah, before I forget, you probably noticed or not, I've got 2 needles poking out, 2 different sizes. Now this one, it's got a slightly bigger eye. This is a size, oh god, I'll probably get this mixed up now. I think it's a size 26, and it's a pony needle. This is the one I love. This is my favourite needle ever, and it's what I use for my 2 strands. And this one is, excuse my terrible nails, but I'm doing an awful lot of cleaning and stuff today. Can I poke it up here? This one is a size smaller, so it's a 28, and I love that one, and I've just dropped it. I love that one, again, a pony needle, and I love that one for the 1/1/4 cross. It's got a slightly sharper tip as well, and it goes really easily in between difficult areas. This one, the tip is slightly more blunted, but the eye is bigger. But all in all, this one for the single strand, this one for the double strand, and that's really my preference. I keep a whole bunch of these nearby just so that, and I'm always finding these little blue ones on the floor, or the black ones on the floor. My husband's going, there's another blue needle on the floor, and there's another. Yeah, well, that's because those are more or less the only ones I use now, so they're always going to be the ones on the floor. Also, before I go on to the other one, I have cropped a little bit off the top because I don't think I need so much black at the top. I might actually add another 10 by 10 row across at the top. I'm going to see how balanced it looks overall when I get a lot further down. So as far as further down is concerned, when I get to about halfway on this green, somehow I've got to try and make it look balanced. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to stop, but I do not think I'm going to go right to the bottom. So it's not going to really be 61,000 that I'm doing. I'm wrong. It's going to be a lot less. So it might be that I've chopped off. How many have I chopped off? At the top. Well, I haven't actually filled them in on Pattern Keeper. So I can see from looking at my Pattern Keeper that I'm not going to be doing 400 down by 15 squares across the top. But 4 down and 15 across, or however many stitches that is, I'm not going to be doing at the top. And I'm always going to be cropping at the bottom. So those amount of stitches, if I fill them in, it'll show on Pattern Keeper as already done. But then I won't know if I want to do another line at the top. I won't know how many stitches. I don't know. It's going to get confusing. So I haven't marked off that section at the top there. I've just basically counted 4 squares down. In fact, you can see it. I'll show it to you. Just rearrange my screen. There. That's what I haven't done at the top. You can see. So if I zoom in just a little bit, you can see it's 4 down, 15 across. Yes, it means it's actually less to stitch than I thought. So there is a chance that if I do decide to continue with this one, say August and September, there is a chance I could finish it. That's finished way before Christmas. Do I have the guts and stamina for it? I do not know. Will I want to pull my hair out and be burnt out by the end of July? I do not know. It's quite possible. However, that is why I am not going to go completely monogamous, because I don't want to even risk hating it. So I'm going to continue also, you know, whenever it suits, with Riverwalk Charm. I'll put a picture up of that one again for those who haven't seen it before. This is by Ruane Manning. Started this one the end of 2019. Didn't work on it for a lot of 2020, got back into it at the end of 2020, and then have been consistently on and off working on it. So at this point I am here. Can I move this back a bit? Here with this one. So I've got it back into my 10-inch hoop, which is my preference. And I've drawn a line at the end of this page. So whether I stick to just that line or not, I don't know. I'm coming down, and my idea was to just work this page and then maybe go on to the right. But then I thought I could also come down, because this is a nice bridge down here. There's more interesting stuff going on here too. So I could come down to the bottom here, then go on to that page. So I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to do that page first. I don't ever really work on pages either, but it's just an idea. So this one is, now I'm working this on 1/1. Again, I converted from tent to 1/1 full cross on this one. So I've gotten used to that now, and I'm starting to park again a little bit, and it doesn't bother me now because I've got just the one strand every time I park. Before I was having 2 strands and it was getting so bulky. But when you're only parking 1 strand, it's a lot less bulky. I mean, look at the state of using 2 strands. I mean, if I flip this round and you see 1 strand at the back, you'll see that it's a whole lot neater. So I'm going to continue just down, and I started doing a little bit cross country just in my 10 by 10, because I think it's because I was tired, and I was getting that, moment of fatigue where I was like, I don't know where to go next. Should I do that bit in there? Should I do this bit here? Should I go down here? And there are moments where you just can't decide for yourself. Maybe you're tired or whatever. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go back to doing a row down to here, and then I'll start up here. Or if I want to just carry on, it doesn't matter anyway. It just, whatever I feel like doing. But I was sort of tired, so I just started doing just very contained cross country. That's like extremely contained inside your 2 squares. But if you want to do cross country within a page, that's a little bit more adventurous. And if you want to do it across the whole chart, well, that's what you call extreme, isn't it? So yeah, it varies between what people like doing the most and what people don't. It just certainly helps when you've got the grid to be able to have the freedom. And I never really go too far down, because I always think that, first of all, I've never been a fan of huge scattered confetti stitches over a wide area, because me personally, it feels a bit messy. And then I get some sort of anxiety about having to fill them all in. But I've seen a lot of stitchers just sort of go down a little way, and then they stop, and then they go back up again and go down a little way. And that's perfectly okay. That sort of works for me as well, a bit better than just, sorry if my camera's shaking, I am actually holding this in my hand. I haven't got a setup at all at the moment. I just really wanted to come on and do a very quick video, but it's already now been nearly 20 minutes I've been talking. So that's all I really wanted to come on for, was just to show you what I'm doing for July. And also, do you think I'm totally mad, or do you think it's a good idea? I don't know. We'll find out, won't we? I don't think there is anything else. I had considered, because I'm using the bobbins for this chart, they're all looking a bit messy again. I keep tidying them up and then they get a little bit messy. I had considered putting them onto floss drops, but then I thought, you know what, if I start doing that now, that's going to take another couple of days. And that's a couple of days where I could just actually be stitching and getting stitches into my project. So why am I going to be faffing around trying to make it all look perfect and beautiful when, come on, just think about the stitching. So I've eradicated that idea. I'm not going to start doing floss drops on this. I really don't see the point now anyway, because it's not a huge chart. By the time I got all my floss drops together, I'll probably be nearly finished. So, yeah, sometimes we just like to distract ourselves doing the pretty things, like making the floss drops and hanging all the things, and then we're not actually doing any stitching or anything. And I've been caught out with that a little bit lately, because I started making floss drops and I started making a few more. And I don't think it was avoidance. I don't think I was avoiding my stitching. I think I was trying to have a break, probably. And I've got a few extra threads in here which haven't been bobbinated, and now I don't want to bobbinate them because I'm enjoying doing floss drops. So I don't know what to do because not everything is bobbinated for this kit. There's a few colours that I think what was happening was I was just putting the colours onto the bobbins as they were coming up in the chart as I was stitching. But there is an awful lot of 939 in this chart, and I'll let you know if you are thinking about doing this chart, just how much 939. Not so much 310. There's only 900 stitches of 310. But how do we make this pattern keeper show you the highest numbers first? Okay, maybe it will work now. Oh yes, so 939 is a whopping 11,837 stitches, followed by DMC 823, which is 9,996. So we're talking, do they say that each skein has about 2,500 stitches in it? I guess it depends on what count you're using, etc., and how many strands. But I think the 1/125 count that is used for heaven and earth and what they base their instructions on, I think they approximately give you about 2 skeins, 2 to 3,000 stitches per skein. So if you think it's about 2, you're looking at about, well, not too much, maybe about 6 skeins of thread of the 939. I don't know how much I've got of that, but I've got what looks like a fair bit of 823. So I may well have to get some more 939, but there is a lot of 939, just so you know. And yeah, I think it's going to look nice. So definitely not going to have a finish at the end of July, but I'm definitely going to come back and see what my progress is like for the next 4 weeks. And if I want to pull my hair out with it, I can come back and tell you as well, because it's nice to vent, or, you know, if there are any frustrations, it's to come back and share them as well. But I think all in all, might be fun, actually. So with that, I will leave you, and thanks for watching, and let me know what you think, and I will come back soon. And thanks to all of you as well for your messages and comments on my last video. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's nice to see, it's nice to get the feedback and to hear from you again. So take care, my friends, and I'll be back soon. Bye.